Yeah. So anyhow, I'm Kuntz, and this is my 1965 Chevy van that I've had since 2010. And I drove it with patina for a number of years, and I restored it during COVID. So the paint is all, and the body is restored. I bought it from an original family out of the state of Washington, and they were painters, and they took good care of it. And in the northwest of the country, things don't rust, so it was a rust-free vehicle underneath it. It's like the day it was made. It's really nice. So I got it. It only had 54,000 miles on it. I did a whole round of rubber parts and brakes and all the service stuff to make it a safe driving vehicle and to run well. I'm a gearhead, so I insisted it run well. So I got fussy with all that. So it ran well, but it had patina galore. The paint was falling off of it. And so by the time COVID started, I had had enough of that. And I decided to restore it in my own garage. And I stripped it to bare metal, and all the doors and all the parts, everything came off the body. And I just did the best I could with it, and I took it to bare metal and took out all the dings and dents best I could, and then I started getting a little OCD. I made sure to cover all the spot welds from the belt line up, you know, and I finished off around the door edges because I didn't like the spot welds in places. So I got a little fussy there, and it's all new glass, all new weather strips, all new door felts. I rebuilt my vent windows. They were a thing. I restored the interior in the front. I specifically restored this to like new as best I could, and it was all good to do. I was fortunate the original headliner is still in very good shape, so when I painted it, that pretty much sealed its fate to be really in good shape for a long time. So I repainted all this, did some body work on the engine cover where it had been dinged and dented. I got seats made from SMS Fabrics out of Oregon, and they do a real good job of reproducing the materials and so forth, and they made the seats. I'm really happy with the look there. This is very much original condition of the seats as they would have done it. The floor mat is not exact because nobody makes an exact floor mat for this, but I created that out of what I thought would be appropriate matting for what we got there. And I did the dash and rebuilt all this stuff as well. Now my engine on the inside, I have put a dual carburetor setup. I'll show you from the other side maybe. Oh, and yeah. So I have two small Webers I put on there, and it runs well. It's pretty efficient. I use oxygen sensors on the exhaust. I have twin exhaust manifolds, so I was able to use my oxygen sensor tool to give me feedback so I could jet the carburetors appropriately, and so it runs efficiently and nice and crisp. And well, it doesn't do great gas mileage because it's a big piece of plywood like pushing down the road in the front. But it runs well and never overheats, and you know, oil pressure is good. So, but I do have a 250 engine I want to build, that I have built actually. I just need to switch out the short blocks. The top end of this motor I'm done with, and I'll transfer it to my 250 short block when I put that in as a fall-winter project. But otherwise, I love driving it. It's a hoot. I drove it to the Woodward Dream Cruise 2 weeks ago. But what made it bearable were, quite honestly, earplugs. You know, earplugs were essential. I've driven this on the highway with this solid fan, and I can hardly go exit to exit, you know, at home. You know, I mean, I do, but it's noisy, the engine being right there. So I put these earplugs in, and man, are they effective. And I just have to keep my eye on the oil gauge and the temperature gauge, and it's perfect. No, the van runs well. I'm happy with it. It's earned a lot of my trust in the past summer here, you know. So anyhow, I don't know. The back is not customized in any way. The back is left original, and that's while I restored this, I wanted to honor the care this was given when it was new. So I preserved the patina of the interior, and I really love it. It's like home. It's like old home, you know, because my dad had these, and this is the kind of beat-upishness that you would get. I mean, it's not beat up, but the paint's not perfect, and it's got patina of its own sort. And so I like that I can use it, and it shows too that this is really original and hasn't had to be repaired or restored in the back body sections, which would be common for a rusty version. And so this has been pure virgin van, and that's sort of a proof of it, I think, that I like to keep. And but yeah, I like that. These decals on the door here would not be able to be replicated. I've not seen them done anywhere. So so I like that, and I can use it. You know, I don't get all paranoid about scratching up the floor a touch if I have something that's a little rough. I have a nice heavy-duty mat actually on the floor. I don't expect to ever scratch it up anyhow, but I don't want anything to bang into the walls. That's the real risk.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, but it turned out well. I'm real pleased with it. You know, my dad had them when I was a child. Actually, when I was 7, he came home with a brochure for it, and I've been in love with them ever since. You know, so yeah, this is my van. The glove box door on a '64 was an option.
Oh,
you know?
really? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And this jump seat flips up this way, and then goes around to the side. If you don't mind, I'm not going to move it because I have my seatbelt fed through there, kind of funny.
Yeah, I did. Oh, yeah.
But I could move it out of the way if I wanted it.
Right.
You know. So I draped this off with a blanket at night with a bungee cord across the top, and I put the plastic bags up over the rear windows, and I have all the privacy I'll ever need.
Sweet.
You know, and you know, camping out of here is kind of fun. It's really basic. It's kind of fun doing it this way because that's how I'd have done it as a kid. You know, I mean, you know, that's just like that's the way you're going camping. You know, you just rock. And the weather's perfect. I mean, you know,
we're having a great time, right?
Yes, I am. I am. Thank you so much for interviewing me on it. And
absolutely.
yeah,
Man, beautiful. She's
yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this side is actually the prettier side.